Attention, men's park for main closing, 5 minutes. Men's park for main closing, 5 minutes. We're now 5 minutes to forerunners, 5 minutes to forerunners. All right. Get track. These are him. Start time. Slow down. 10 is takes away from and 1, 2, comes these, here comes the gun. Alright. Down to gold right away on the top speed of 141. Finally, 47 below. How to do this. A bit more on that later on. Track actually comes to the skeleton start. Why? What are they're part of a three-way tie for what happens to Western today? 39-13 out of 11. In front, 100 times. When we do longest challenge, Western. We have a start official on headset, please. Start official on headset. Two minutes to forerunners, 2 minutes to forerunners, forerunner Jacob Coleman on deck at skeleton start. And attention athletes, men's park for May now closed. Men's park for May is closed. We're going to change forerunners to Jordan Wimalira. Jordan Wimalira, forerunner. He's going to start. About 1 minute to start, forerunner Jordan Wimalira to still and start.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Whistler Sliding Centre as we get ready for the second and deciding heat, race one of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup for 22-23. Second of our two heats. That's standard in every World Cup race. Only in the Olympic Games and the World Championships will be a four-heat race. So the men's skeleton competition in reverse order. We have a top three with Jung Seung-gi of Korea lying in third place, just 0.03 of a second off the lead, and 200s back is Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain. Jung finished 9th in the World Championships here in 2019. Marcus was in 12th place, so a significant improvement in his pace and form. But our leader, and a one-time World Cup winner on about as diametrically opposite a track as this as you can get, short 1,200 metres track in Innsbruck, is Great Britain's Matt Weston. Tied the all-time start record set by the man who's now his coach, the great Martins Duclos, in the World Championships in 2019 as Martins won, and a blistering run to take the top of the pile. So 0.03 of a second cover the top three. Axel Jung, Olympic medalist in Beijing, is in 4th place, half a second back, 0.75 of a second back, the top Canadian, Blake Enzie, and he leads a very tight pack from 5th down to around 10th place, where 1/10 of a second is the covering. So it's going to be close battle all the way through. In fact, 2/10 back is Felix Kaisinger from 5th place in 10th place, but plenty of opportunity for improvement there. And for Evan Neufeld, for Felix Kaisinger, Vladislav Heraskevich, Andrew Blaser and Lawrence Bostock. Well, start dramas for Heraskevich and Bostock, and driving errors for the other three named. We'll all need tidying up in the second heat. So, 2 hours up the Sea to Sky Highway from Vancouver in British Columbia. We're on the west coast of North America, and the athletes returning to the track that we have not slid on since 2019. There was a North America's Cup competition here a couple of weeks ago, and a number of the athletes did compete in that. So we have pretty much all the medalists, in fact, from those races here. It was a little bit less about pot hunting and a bit more about gaining more knowledge of the track. Lawrence Bostock from Great Britain, the third of the British sliders, with a bit of a start drama. So too Vladislav Heraskevich. Andrew Blaser, more mistakes than he would care for me to mention in his run. They will all be looking for a bit of redemption here. And at the top, it's going to be very tight. 300s covering Jung, Wyatt and Weston. Second deciding heat. Race 1 of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup. Martin Haven calling the action here in Whistler, British Columbia, and blasting off Lawrence Bostock from Team GB. 4:55 first start, 4:64. Now, it's not that the ice is slower, I don't think. I think that he is being cautious after hitting the short wall on the run down from the start. Little tap there between 2 and 3. Now, he will be our leader at the bottom as the only man this far to have started, never mind completed, a second heat. And the question is, he was 2.4 seconds back, having lost any speed he had at the start. How much better will this run be? Well, the first one was a 55.23 second run. And the fact that it's a 55-second run tells you how long this track is compared to some of our others. 125.5 kilometers an hour. That's decent speed down towards the bottom. 84.4 miles an hour, 135.9. Obviously, bobsleigh's comfortably over 140 probably this weekend. 54.53 compared to 55.23. So a big improvement, and that all comes from not basically hitting the brakes, or the wall as it was, away from the start. That first 10 or 15 meters that the athlete sprints is the only chance they have to put speed into the sled. When you immediately then hit a wall head on, understandably it slows you down, and that follows you all the way down. So a very different track compared to his first heat. Not that the ice is that different, but that he's getting to all the corners a lot quicker. So there is Lawrence, our leader, and he will be in the box, well, for at least the next minute. Andrew Blaser from Team USA next up, 14th after the first of our 2 heats, and off the 13th best start. Andrew will be joining me this afternoon to bring his unique brand of entertainment and humour to calling the women's skeleton race. That will be up at 2:30 local, 5:30 Eastern. That is 22:30 Greenwich Mean Time. But meantime, see what I did there? All right, I'll stop. 1.68 off the lead. And not the fastest of our starters, 4:65, 4:62, a fraction quicker. There's a lot of long limbs in Andrew Blaser to get speed out of. And that means that turnover rate is maybe not quite as high as some of the shorter athletes, but a long rangy frame helps once you're on the sled. 7,400s up. So he is opening his advantage over Lawrence Bostock. Lawrence had a much better run than the first heat. This is looking better as well from Blaser. Here we go. Maybe just a little bit of first run nerves. He tends to try and hide it under the feathers. But this is looking at a much more fluent run. Next weekend will be on his home ice, Park City, Utah. And 139.8, big speed at the bottom, 86.9 miles an hour, and a 53.87. So again, 0.7 of a second of an improvement. Big run from Andrew Blaser. 53.87 would have left him a whisker outside the top 10. Coach Tuffy Latour helping down at the finish area with the sled. Fraction late on the exit, little tap. Sometimes in skeleton and in bobsleigh indeed, you just have to allow the sled to run where it needs to. And taking the tap on the ice, although it tends to hurt a little more, is actually better for speed than fighting it.
Happy Thanksgiving. Go Team USA. Hi, Mom and family.
Number 5 on your start list, number 1 in your hearts. Next up, Vladislav Heraskevich, 13th place after a start disaster in the first run. Popped the groove just as he was loading onto the sled, and it skated all over the place. His father, Mikhail, helping out there. And a great new helmet livery for the Ukrainian athlete. So let's see what he can produce. Well, 481 start was nothing representative. He's being a little conservative there, I think, but still 472. It's from here on in He's got so much more speed than he would have done in the first heat. This is where it's going to make the difference. But again, like Lawrence Bostock, this is going to be a different track. It's coming at him now already, faster than it was in the first heat. But the good news is that he's more focused on it and less trying to forget the start. In the green, over our current leader, Andrew Blaser, 2400s up. His first run was a 54.45, so this should be somewhere around a 53.60, maybe a 53.50. 129.1, big speed, half a second clear of Andrew Blaser. 7/10 up on Andrew Blaser. He was only 700s up. Big run from Vladislav Heriskevich, 53.06, and that would have left him 4th in the first heat. Yes, big run from Vladislav Heriskevich of the Ukraine. Nice work, Vlad, nice work. Hardest thing in sport, other than finding the money, is to let what happened happen. Whatever it was, forget it. No matter how good it was, no matter how bad it was, move on. And he did exactly that. Blinding second run. There's the smile. 3 down in our field of 15 sleds as we get to the first of our Canadians, and this is Evan Neufeld, the man from Saskatchewan, returning to full World Cup action. See his teammates there at the top of the track. Long dark hair of Jane Channel marking her out at the top of the Whistler Sliding Centre ice. There's Jane. Mimi Reniva will be there as well. So let's see what Neuf has got for us. So first start for Evan Neufeld, 4.64, 4.67. Now his advantage over Vladislav Heriskevich was a decent one from the first heat, but he's added a few more hundreds to that. 2800s out to 3200s. And again, I think a little like Andrew Blaser, just maybe too tight on the first run, not letting it flow. So much of this is the human personality of the slider. So much of this is their body trying to fight the speed. Just got to enjoy it and let it flow. 400s in the lead, second best speed, so he drops behind Heriskevich. Should see him stay ahead of Andrew Blaser. It's a much more relaxed looking run from Evan Neufeld. Hopefully he'll be smiling at the bottom. 53.52 compared to 54.22. So again, a 7/10 of a second improvement. Much nicer looking run. And that all reflects how the athlete is feeling. If you're tight, tense, or not up for it, then
braking is optional.
Braking doesn't exist. These things don't have brakes. Bobsleds do. These things have crash mats, rightly named. Again, nice smooth lines. Just feeling the love for the place again on this second run. Joe Cicchini,
Hey, bud.
the coach, former Canadian slider, competed for Italy recently as well. Joe, and set up a skeleton sliding club in Calgary. Alexander Schlittner from Austria next up. And Alex on the fringe of the top 10. Jeff Payne holding the sled. Former Canadian world and Olympic medalist. World champion Jeff Payne. Let's see what Alexander Schlittner has got here. Only his 5th World Cup start, one of the least experienced men in this field. Only Blake Enzie has started fewer World Cup races. 4.62, ties his first start exactly to the 100th. That's what you want. That means that he was really blazing it out in the first one. 6,400s up. And don't forget, Vladislav Heriskevich was nearly half a second behind him in the first heat. Vlad was very quick down at the bottom. Schlintner is riding his speed nicely, 6300s, keeping that lead alive. Looking smoother and more relaxed as well. Gaps coming down, only third best speed. Heriskevich may yet be the leader at the end of the run, 2200s. Big waves in Thunderbirds, he's behind at the line, and Vladislav Heriskevich remains in the leader's box. Well, for Alexander Schlintner, he would have hoped to have seen the single digit being held up, which means you are the leader. But Heriskevich was out of position, really. That second run from Vladislav shows us that. It was not a bad run. He'll only be thinking of the places where he knows it went wrong. Let's take a look here, nice looping height. John Montgomery, the Olympic champion on this track, always had the theory that the human element in skeleton actually probably takes speed out of the sled. He always said, if you pushed me and a bag of potatoes off at the same speed, a bag of potatoes would probably win because they're not arguing with the sled all the way. Vladislav Heriskevich leads for the Ukraine from Alexander Schlintner and Evan Neufeld. 5 down, 10 to go in our first men's skeleton World Cup race of the season. And Felix Kaisinger returning to the World Cup squad for Germany here. 6800s off the lead. 10th place, not what he'd have been hoping for. 4th fastest starter. And as has often been the case, tight and maybe a little too much aggression in the first heat. 4:51, good getaway, exactly ties his first start as well. Kaisinger is so good at recovering in the second run. Unfortunately, he so often has to recover in the second run. Vladislav Heriskevich, every athlete that comes down now has a bigger and bigger advantage. Was up to a second for Kaisinger, now down to 8800s. But Heriskevich had huge speed, little skatey there, only 5th best speed from Felix Kaisinger. Still nearly 7/10 up, but this could be close at the line. Not many meters of ice left, good speed, that's recovered it. He should be the leader here, he is going to be the leader here. 3500s up, 53.39, so 3800s quicker than he managed in the first heat. He probably will have wanted around a 7/10 of a second advantage as well, or improvement as well, as we've seen from some of our others on this 2010 Winter Olympic track. That has not quite appeared. However, he is back in the World Cup squad, earned his place again this season at the expense of Alexander Gassner, who is in the Intercontinental Cup, where Felix has been racing for the last couple of years. So Kaisinger needs to make these races before Christmas count. A little limited on experience on this track though, as he is in much of North America. Last World Cup was in St. Moritz in January 2021. Felix Kaisinger leads for Germany. And next up is Austria's Florian Auer. So 500s of a second in hand over Kaisinger. That will go into the red from the start because he actually started in the first heat 2/10 slower than Felix Kaisinger. Kaisinger, one of the 3 or 4 fastest starters in the field. But with the hours, Alex, his older brother, Father Christian, it was less about the start and more about the driving. 4:71 again, exactly what he did in the first heat. So nearly 2/10 back, and that gap will grow. There you go, 2300s back. However, can he drive himself now into contention? Nice looking first run, and this is absolutely classic Austrian gliding. Tiny little toe steer. Look at the legs. Feels pretty close together. Nice aerodynamic form. Trying to let the sled do all the work. 1800s back, he's bringing it down. Good speed, better than Kaisinger. Could be the leader at the line. Second best speed. It is a fraction quicker than Felix Kaising, and it'll be very close. Tied. Very, very close. Tied to the 100th of a second. So he does not drop down, but Felix Kaising will be no worse than 9th. So Florian Auer, who came in with a slender advantage of 0.05 of a second over Felix Kaisinger, does not lose a spot. 53.44 run. So it gives away a 10th at the top, and rule of thumb in skeleton is that's about 2,500s at the bottom, maybe even a fraction more on a longer track like this. That was the moment he crossed the line. See, I love the fact that I've got no clue how it's going to end up, and the coaches, even guys like Jeff Payne, can't read it either. Next up, Austin Florian. Just saw his teammate Andrew Blaser back at the top by the changing rooms, watching the action here. Going to watch his teammate. So, Austin Florian versus Florian Auer, because it's never designed to confuse a simple man like myself. Here we go, 8th after the first heat, 700s in hand over Auer, and effectively Kaisinger as well. 4.51, good start, ties Felix Kaisinger, that's a really good start. Again, 4th fastest in the field, Austin Florian. Being coached by Tuffy Latour and especially by Matt Antoine, who is back in the US program. As, well, catch-all, the man who does everything pretty much in terms of coaching the team. Fitness coach, start coach, driving coach. Oh, it's a little wild. And there's the result, only the 8th best speed. So 4,200s up, that will be in single digits. It is in single digits, 6 speed, he's going down. He's going to lose 2 places here at least. He is 3rd at the line, so Felix Kaisinger and Florian Auer move up. Yeah, it all got away from him down at the bottom. 53.63, his first heat, 53.65. It all got away from Austin Florian down in the lower reaches. Once he hit the Gold Rush Trail, it was going away from him. Always disappointing to lose out on a second run. You always want to move up if you can. Stands to reason, unless you're first, and even then you want to improve. And here, look, big looping height, just too free, not quite enough control onto the curve. Yeah. Well, there's the coach versus the rivals view. Nice work, boys.
Mom, Dad, Eric and Erica, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Well, unfortunately, his turkey was that second heat. So we have joint leaders as we get to Christopher Grotehair, the man who was in 7th place after the first of our 2 heats, and our Olympic champion. 1,300s up. Christopher Grotehair, also our world champion from 2021 and 2020. 2 World Cup wins. Not thinking he's going to add to that this weekend. 4.61 getaway, fraction slower than 4.60 in the first heat. 500s up on Auer and Kaisinger, our joint leaders. $500s, 2,800s. That's more like it. 2,100s. Gaps coming down a fraction on that clock. On my timing screen, it says he's 4,700s up. 3,500s to 53. I'm not sure which I'm going to believe now. Your TV graphics come from the timing system, but so does my timing screen. Well, big speed. Whichever way you slice it, the Olympic champion has the lead with a 52.83 run. And that is very nearly 0.8 of a second quicker than he went in the first heat. So that is a huge run. 88.9 miles an hour. was his top speed there, 143.2. This is quick ice. First day of the season, last day of the World Champs, doesn't matter. This is quick ice. And Christopher Grotehair just allowing the sled to do as much work as possible.
Beim nächsten schon beim ersten dann. Und nicht erst beim zweiten.
It was a lot better than his first. Christopher Grotehair, the race leader, 6 to go here in Whistler. Kim Ji-soo for Korea, the first of the 2 Korean athletes in the top half dozen. Teammate Jung Seung-gui is currently in the changing rooms because he was 3rd, and he will go out 3rd last. Sliding legends abound in the coaching staff here. That's Katsuhiro Koshi holding the sled. Kim with a 4:51 start in the first heat and a 4:52. So 4th fastest start, equal to Felix Kaisinger and Austin Florian. In the second heat gives away 100th for both. It is Christopher Grotehair that leads though, and he has a slender advantage over Christopher Grotehair, who was only 200ths up in the first heat. Oh, late flop. Really just fell out there of the curve instead of driving himself off it. He's a 10th back. The gap from first to joint second is a yawning chasm, so he should still be, should still be second at the line. I'm not sure he is. This is a disaster for Kim Ji-soo. A shocker, 53.90. Nearly 3/10 slower than he went in the first heat. Yeah, slightly shocked face there from Christopher Grotehair, and Kim drops to 6th. Well, if you're going to have a loose one, the second heat is not where you want it because there's no room for redemption. Big height here, holds it late, and then second pressure comes in and boom, just falls off the outrun of the corner. And the timing was just a whisker out, and that's all it needs at these speeds. You know, if you're a few hundredths of a second late with your steers, it just multiplies. All right. Well, a race not to remember for Kim Ji-soo. He's down to 6 with 5 to go. Christopher Grotehair, the Olympic champion, is the leader. Final 5 sleds on ice in the season opener for the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Martin Haven watching the action with you. Blake Enzie of Canada, start bib number 1 on the line. Top 5 after the first heat off a 4:60 start. He goes 4:59 in the second heat. Blake Enzie in only his 4th World Cup start. Did 3 races at the end of last year, earned himself a place in the Winter Games. I mean, what a season that was. 700s up, now only 100th ahead of Grotehair, and that will turn red at the next clock. It does. Far too much noise coming from slider and sled. Looks like the sled is just a little loose for him, and he's having to work hard to get the lines he wants. And as a result, the speed is going away. Only 4th fastest, dropping away. 3rd on the splits, behind Florian Auer and Felix Kaisinger. They move up again. No, he's 2nd at the line. Only the 3rd fastest run with a 53.27. And the Olympic champion remains in the leader's box with 4 to go. Well, having confidently predicted that Christopher Grotehair probably wouldn't add to his, well, he won't add to his winning tally, I don't think, but might not add to his medal tally here in World Cup races. Only 4 to go. And Blake Enzie shows that a good first run does not necessarily guarantee a good second run. That leaves him in 2nd place. It will still be a top 6 finish. But obviously, when you are 5th after the first heat, podium is a tantalising prospect. There is a big gap to the podium though. Blake Enzie was 25 behind this man, Axel Jung. Christopher Groothair was 3/10 behind Axel. Groothair, the Olympic champion, Axel Jung, the silver medalist in Beijing. And after a season again last year where he struggled to recover from injury, what an end to a 4-year journey that has been more down than up and more pain than pleasure. Well, let's see what our Olympic silver medalist has got. Has he got enough to take a medal here? 4:52 getaway, 500's better than his first heat, so that's always good news. That makes that the 5th fastest start in the competition. 4200ths ahead of Christopher Groothair. Don't forget, he was half a second up after the first heat. Christopher outstarted him a fraction. 4100ths, holding his lead. Now he's half a second off the top 3, basically. 3rd best speed. I think this is where we're going to end up, some 300ths, 3/10 rather away, or ahead of Christopher Groothair, and at the line he is 3400ths up, 52.79. So Christopher Groothair 2nd, Blake Enzie 3rd, Axel Jung the leader. Yeah, still got a vest there on the shoulder, but underneath that super protective lycra suit, he will be bruised up nicely.
52.
Yeah, time for 52. So yeah, a better start for Axel Jung. 4:52, 4:51. There's 3 men on 4:51. That's the 4th fastest start. His is the 5th fastest start, or 7th, depending on how you do it. But the 4th, 5th fastest time away from the start. And that's where he needs to be if he's going to continue to win medals. That's a good indicator that Axel Jung is feeling pretty healthy right now. 3 sleds to go in our season opener here in Whistler, British Columbia. And Jung Seung-gi, 3rd after the first heat. A top 3 covered by 300ths of a second. The win is here to be taken, of that there is no doubt. It is pretty much a dead heat between 3 sliders. Who's going to take gold? 4:48, great start, ties what he did in the first heat, Jung. 2nd quickest getaway in the competition, 100th off the all-time record. First run, 52.87. Every single steer is going to be absolutely critical here. It's not about beating Axel Jung. He was half a second up on Axel, but he was a breath away from gold. 5700ths up. He's extending his advantage slightly over the Olympic silver medalist. And Jung 9th in the World Championships here in 2019. A field that included 2 Dukurs and a whole bunch of other world and Olympic medalists. This is a very good run, 52.58. That is the marker. Is that enough for gold? Is that enough for gold? Here in the Worlds, Korea took bronze with Sungbin Jung. And Sungbin won the previous 2 World Cup races here again. Are we going to get another Korean winner? We are definitely getting a Korean medalist. And for Jung, that is going to be a massive, massive step forward to start the season. 1 World Cup medal in his career. And that was a bronze medal last time out in Sigulda. He has now doubled his medal count, at least. Jung Seung-gi leads for Korea, 2 to go. 2 sliders left here at the Whistler Sliding Centre, both from Team GB. Marcus Wyatt, 2nd place by 200ths of a second, 100th ahead of our current leader, Jung Seung-hui of Korea, the smallest measurable margin in this sport. Marcus Wyatt started 4.50. Can he get down to the start record? 4.47. How close? 4.46. New start record for Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain. New sled this season, built by coach Matthias Guggenberger. So he's on a piece of equipment he is trying to learn as well. But that's a big start, a big statement from Marcus Wyatt. Slender margins, 500s up. Looking good at the top of the track, but then so was Jung. 900s up, little drift. It's all positive so far. The speed is good, the lines are good. 1100s up, speed not as good. The gap's going to come back down a fraction. Nice smooth exit there, 600ths of a second. This is going to be super close. Is it a tie? It's 100th. 52.58. He exactly matches the run of Jung Seung-hui, and his 100th from the first heat remains. He is the leader with 1 to go. Marcus Wyatt will claim his second World Cup medal, at least a silver to start the season, and a brand new start record. A brand new coaching lineup with Matthias Guggenberger. There he is, Googie, and the great Martins Ducours, and a whole new era. Marcus Wyatt, personal best, start record, and best medal result so far. Now, Matt Weston already has a silver medal and a gold medal in World Cup racing. He tied the start record in the first heat. He leads after the first heat by 200ths of a second from his teammate Marcus Wyatt. There's the man whose start record has just gone, Martins Ducours, and if it goes again, he could not be happier. And that might be what Matt Weston needs. 4.46 is the mark. He was quicker than Wyatt in the first heat. 4.46 ties the start record. And now 200ths in 16 turns. That's the margin. He's added a further 100th high. He's red. Now he needs to drive himself back into it. Just a fraction late on the steers early on. 1300s back. He's been the last man out of the changing room 3 times. The first time, he led Martins Ducours in Innsbruck after the first run and he took the silver. The second time, he took the gold. This time, he's going to be in the medals, but it is bronze for Matt Weston. It is a first ever World Cup win for Marcus Wyatt. Well, disappointment for Matt Weston. He takes a bronze medal.
Unofficial results here is Marcus Wyatt.
But for Team GB Skeleton, the new coaching program and these athletes, top 3 results for 2 of the 3 sliders. Well done, Matt Weston. Good start, but it was just a little loose in the second run. First 2 or 3 turns were good, and then it started to get away a fraction. And this is all part of learning the new equipment. Clearly the new sleds are quick, but they're different.
Rubbish. Thank you for everyone for watching. Hi, Alex at work.
Well, it tells you what the expectations are when a bronze medal is rubbish. There you go. Marcus Wyatt, his first ever World Cup win to start a brand new quad, a brand new season. Last time on this track, Marcus Wyatt was 12th in the World Championships. This year, he takes his first ever World Cup win with a new start record. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad for Team GB Skeleton. And the silver medal, again, a career high for Jung Seung-gui of Korea. But there is your happy winner. So confirmation of the result, Marcus Wyatt victorious by 100th over Jung Seung-gui of Korea. Matt Weston taking the bronze medal, 300ths ahead of Axel Jung, with Christopher Grote here, the Olympic champion, in 5th place. And Blake Ensley rounding out the top half dozen for the home nation, Canada, ahead of Florian Auer, Felix Kaisinger, who were tied together just ahead of Austin Florian, and Vladislav Heraskevich recovering with great speed in his second run to take a top 10 finish. So the first of our 8 World Cup races this season for men's skeleton is done and dusted. World Championships this year in the glorious St. Moritz. And our next stop for men's skeleton a week from now will be in Park City, Utah. We go from the 2010 to the 2002 Olympic venue. We'll see you then. Bye for now.